All right, I'm now joined in this special telecast with editor Business Today Rajiv Dubey and also Hiranandani. He's the founder and MD of the Hiranandani Group, also giving us your time. Thank you so much. I want to first go across to the top industry voice in the real estate sector. Mr. Hiranandani, there have been construction projects that have been halted for the past few months, and clearly the sector has faced a lot of challenges. So when at 4 p.m. there's an announcement made, what would be your expectation or for the market that you are in fact working with?
I think the Prime Minister was very clear that now the economic package is being delivered, and I think he's pretty clear as to the various segments, including land, labor, the entirety, because you have to remember 15% of the entire working population of India works in real estate and in construction industry. So if he's talking about the people and in that category, certainly construction and real estate and infrastructure will have to be covered. So that's the first point. The second point is that we're now talking about a package which is so large that there is no question of all segments not being involved. So I think the SMEs definitely are going to be involved. Industry is definitely going to be taken care of. And the liquidity issue and the credit guarantees, which I think the Reserve Bank of India needs to give for lending, because we have more than 7.5 lakh crores lying with Reserve Bank of the banking industry, not given into the economy. I am expecting a huge boost into the real estate. Of course, there is an issue. When and how are the migrant workers really going to come back?
Correct.
Because
yes.
They have been treated very badly. They have been neglected. They had to walk anything from 500 to 1500 kilometers to reach back home without food, without anything in their pockets. I think it's quite a negative thing. We will have to actually make up to them for whatever has happened to them and promise them that we will not repeat it again. So I think that's the negative issue. But the positive, which the Prime Minister gave a vision document for the entire country and the economy of the country for the next 5 years, and the Make in India thought, buying local, the self-reliance issues, the Atma Bal, Atma Vishwas, Atma Nirbharta. I think all these aspects of it needs to be focused upon, and I'm praying that the bureaucracy takes it to the next level. I think implementation of this package will be equally important as the package itself. So I'm looking forward to the Finance Minister's statement. Plus, I'm looking forward to the bureaucracy rolling out this package in an effective way that it reaches the masses, and it also makes the paradigm happen. A lot of money is committed. Let's use it perfectly.
All right, that's a very interesting view that you have taken. I request you, Mr. Hiranandani, to please stay on with me. I want to go now to Rajiv Dubey, editor Business Today. This is the whole point, Rajiv. We've been talking through the morning about MSMEs, about laborers and workers, as if it's a separate entity. But when we talk about real estate sector, which involves some of those MSMEs, involves the labor force. So it's not just about enhancing liquidity. It will also be to ensure availability of a different kind, so as also to help the real estate sector that has suffered so much in the past few weeks.
Yeah, Pooja, MSMEs are definitely not removed from the economy. MSMEs are about 1/3 of our GDP. They employ 110 million people. But most importantly, and which is most critical, is that MSMEs form the backbone of the entire large industry sector. If MSME sector is the one that is going to collapse, you do not expect anything happening in the large industries. If there is a Maruti which is manufacturing cars, there are hundreds of MSMEs which are actually supplying components to it. Now, if that sector actually collapses, there is no way a car will be manufactured in India. So, MSMEs are very much an integral and a very critical part of this, which is why the government is focusing on MSMEs. MSMEs are the ones that will help ensure that the large industries, the big industries, continue to function the way they were functioning earlier, and even to the extent of even 50% of the capacity utilization or 50% of the workforce that is required. And as far as the focus of the government, besides MSMEs being on the workers and the labor class, that is also very critical to survival of these industries, including MSMEs, like I said, because the migration that was happening of working class across the country can only stop if the government can announce that there was a subsistence level or basic income that could be assured to them, which will ensure that they stay in the places they were in. The reason why they were migrating was because they were not able to sustain themselves in the areas that
and also, Rajiv, there was so much uncertainty, so of course they cannot be blamed for that. Nobody really knew what was going to be the situation. I want to take a quick question from Mr. Hiranandani. Sir, there have been so much confusion over the construction projects, private construction, and also just with the real estate sector. It would be important to tell the country how much the market suffered in the past few months and how important it is that the government considers that the real estate market will be taken into consideration for the announcement today.
Well, post demonetization, bringing in of RERA, bringing in of GST, bringing in about the insolvency law, the struggle post ILFS debacle, and now this COVID, I think the real estate industry has been probably amongst one of the worst sufferers that I've ever seen, and probably in the history of my career in the real estate business, probably this is the worst time for the real estate as a business and as an industry. Having said that, I think we have to look at it as an opportunity in terms of making a change and really looking at the new world post-COVID situation. What we really need to do is to see that the segmentation where the demand is existing, we should be focusing on. The liquidity crisis which is there needs to be addressed. Those which projects are totally stuck, and one fund of 25,000 crores has been raised by the government with contribution of 10,000 crores by the Finance Ministry and is being run by the State Bank. I think we need 6 funds of that size. But more than that, the banks, NBFCs and housing finance agencies need to do a one-time rollover of the existing debt and about an addition to giving working capital for the next period, where I think some sort of credit guarantee needs to be given by the government. And I'm hoping that that will be a part of the package that would be announced today or in the near future for the real estate. If you do that, we can be on track in 6 months' time, and your GDP levels can move up back to 4 and 5% by March of next year. But if you don't, and if you don't target these funds correctly, you can still be at 1 to 2% as the World Bank has guesstimated. So I think we can do a change if we make the paradigm happen and target these funds to bring the economy back to track.
Right, Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, he's the founder and MD of one of the top real estate sectors, Hiranandani Group, and also to Rajiv Dubey. Thank you so much for giving us your time on India Today.